Is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 231. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E. Sitting here on a Sunday, victorious Austin, Texas, coming off a 2-0 victory up there in Denver. We've been there before. How you feeling, my friend?
Absolutely fantastic. Finally, we were able to unite the good evening with the homies with 3 points, brought that together, fit seamlessly there. Great performance last night. Way to respond from a very, very difficult matchup up there in San Diego. You come up there to Denver and you took care of the job. And I was impressed with how we looked. And then also I remember sitting there around, I don't know, it's like the 35-minute mark, and Colorado has a throw in and they show the field. And there's 3 Austin guys, hands on knees, literally bent over, keeled over, huffing for, and I was like, holy shit. This is going to be a fight to get to the finish line. I thought we were going to need some subs early, but those guys gutted it out. And I was going to be proud if that was a 1-0 win. But like to get 2 on these dudes and like feel good about that was awesome. So super, super happy and room to grow, in my opinion. That was not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but a much needed 3 points. And now you have an opportunity here coming up on Saturday. Put the stamp on that and feel really good about yourself. So looking at the table, 7th place, that looks juicy. Don't talk to me about games in hand. You still got to go play them, you bums.
Well, I know Easterdamus definitely wanted the 1-0, but as I pointed out to you after the game last night, you took the best parts of both of our predictions from Wednesday's episode. I said 2-1. We got the 2 goals. You said 1-0, kept the clean sheet, and we will certainly take that. And I know I texted you early this morning when I started the rewatch, and I'm like, I think I'm to the first goal yet. And I was just like, it just feels so good to sit here and know that you're going to be seeing some good things on the rewatch. So we'll get into everything that took place in the match last night. Got a couple pieces of news to hit on as well. But before we get into the rest of episode 231 of the North End Podcast, just want to remind you all listening or watching on the YouTube channel that you can support the show financially by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And you can toggle on auto downloads, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. That'll support the show going forward, and you won't have to think about it again. You can go the extra mile, rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are watching on the YouTube channel, hitting that subscribe button does help us grow the show, and you can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 231, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. So a couple of pieces of news that took place between when we last convened on Wednesday and when the match began on Saturday evening. And this first one comes to us, was amplified first, as many pieces, tidbits of news from around the globe are, by our buddies over there at We Are Austin TV, I think in collaboration with Verde Nation here. And this motherfucker Romagna just will not die. Zombie Romagna returns. And this time, Romagna is in the news because San Lorenzo, the Argentinian club that we sold Romagna on to, has been sanctioned by FIFA for failing to pay Austin FC the final $250,000 installment from that transfer. Again, Romagna was sold for $750,000 prior to the 2024 season. So it's not just that they caught this sanction from FIFA for gypping Austin and shorting Austin. This is their 6th infraction in this window alone. So sometimes, man, global football is the wild fucking West. This just wouldn't happen in the major American sports that you and I, grew up really ingrained with. And so this is just eyebrow raising. It's a little bit funny. I don't know what happens if we don't get our money. What if we had turned some of that into GAM, or that was the plan? I don't know what happens there, but this is certainly interesting and caught my eye.
This is ridiculous. 6 infractions? That's absolutely nuts. Sanction me with your army.
Yeah.
So we're going to need an army to recoup some of this cash here. This is ridiculous. And the fact that it's fucking Romagna, man, it's just like, it's just classic. So, yeah, what a ridiculous piece of news. That is absurd.
Yep. So maybe we'll get a follow-up on that. Maybe we won't. So we rolled into the weekend with Romagna in mind. And we were discussing that we thought there was a possibility or maybe even a likelihood, right, on Wednesday's episode that we would get another short-term call-up. Speculated it would be Antonio Gomez once again with his 4th. It's not. It was actually Nico Van Ryn getting what I had forgotten that he got a call-up early in the season. I believe him and Gomez were both active for a certain match. I don't recall which one. But Van Ryn signs his second short-term agreement of the season, so he was on the bench for the first team yesterday. Didn't end up playing, but I like seeing this because, again, it could be multifaceted on why they've chosen to kind of alternate between Gomez and Van Ryn, not getting either of them to that 4th one where you would then need to sign them to call them up again or to, have them on the bench. But this also, there's no question that this also communicates confidence in the player, to be that emergency option with the first team. So I like to see it because I think Van Ryn has played quite well this season and really since he got here in the middle of last year.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think, didn't we speculate that we were hoping it would be Van Ryn for this call?
I think we said we were hoping that he would get one.
Yeah.
But I do remember saying I thought it would be Tony because
he's
gotten the majority of them since the beginning of last year, right? We invoked the name of Sal Mazzaferro and how he didn't get a single one last season.
Yeah. Had to get the Trace Nicos last night. So that's good, man. And that's good for, his development, him to get a taste of that and all that good stuff. So shout out to Van Ryn for that.
That's good. The Trace Nicos. I like it. I'll allow it. So then we get to Saturday. The lineup drops an hour before kickoff. And we had some conversation once this came out because we got what we wanted on the back line. Stuver, of course, and net. Heinzike back in there in the midweek or on Thursday, rather. Nico said that Heinzike last weekend was away on with a personal issue, excused absence there, but did not reveal what went on there. And I was joking a couple times in the first half that maybe the rumor about him having another child was true because there were a couple instances in this match where Brendan looked like he was running low on sleep or something of the sort.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody running a little low on oxygen up there with your first run out of the season in the elevation. But Mikel Dessler starts at right back. And that was, we had been pining for the Dessler start and to finally get it here and for it to play out pretty much as we envisioned was great. Then you had Sabovic and Danny and Owen in the midfield. And I guess Owen really more of a second forward, more of a central attacking midfielder, I guess. Different ways you could describe that. But Buka and John Gallagher on the wings, and that was the big discussion point for you and I before the match with BV up top. So what did you think? I think going back, right, we feel really good about it now after the result, but trying to put yourself back around 7:30 last night Central Time, what were your feelings when you saw this lineup come out?
I mean, I was feeling good, we had just gotten it going a little bit there, started playing some darts, having a couple of drinks, and dart games were going good. And we're like, damn, this could be the makings of a really great night here. Yeah. And then we get the lineup.
I got a darts win, first one in weeks.
That's right.
Two wins.
2 wins. And this comes out, and initially on the last episode, when we were trying to speculate lineup, we said Robbie Taylor. And then it kind of clicked for me where it was like, he couldn't walk during that El Paso game, and his return from what we thought was a pretty serious hamstring issue has been quick. But in retrospect, it was clear probably that he was not ready for a full start and go, particularly with the added aspect of the elevation here. So once I saw this and got to digest it and everything, I thought it was wonderful. Like, you get Dessler back in with Buka on that right side, and you saw that pay dividends immediately and all night long. And then Biru and Galley on that left side, another fantastic look, in my opinion. we've been asking some of these wingers to track back and play defense the entire season, and Myrto, to his credit, has done pretty good at that, and we have pointed that out at times. But obviously, Johnny is a better defender than Myrto is in those situations. We also know that Biru will go up and play striker or left wing and be all the way up the pitch, as we saw multiple times last night. And the interchangeability between Johnny and Biru in that situation, where Johnny can know and have the instincts to play some defensive football behind Guilherme when Guilherme's up there going, I think adds a nice little wrinkle to this team. Before we jumped on here, I said with Myrto struggling, this might be the lineup. This might be how it should look. And you got that kind of pivot with Owen where he could be centrally behind BV, but also he was pushing up to that second striker spot, which allowed Buka to stay wide and have tons of space last night. And we took full advantage of that. So credit to Nico and his staff for this lineup. Credit to the formation. Obviously got the job done. But immediately my initial thought was, this is a good lineup. And this is the lineup that I wanted to see last night.
Yeah, and we, one of the things we were going back and forth on, I think I brought up initially was like, because of like what you hinted at, that Biru likes to inject himself into the attack. And we are a more dangerous, more threatening offensive team when he has that freedom. Those two guys can interchange because John Gallagher can play left back and do it very well. And we also looked up, because then we started to, of course, go into the history of the club and where we've moved John Gallagher around to. And like, when's the last time we started this guy, not just on the wing, but on the left? And it turned out that it was Nashville away last year when that was the last time we saw the alignment of Biru Johnny, Buka on the right, Dessler at right back. And guess what? That game was also a 2-0 road win. So maybe that is your recipe going forward. It will certainly be interesting to see how Myrto Uzuni's return is handled next week.
Performance based, he doesn't deserve to start. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to bag on the guy and just like really pile on him while he's struggling right now. This is just the case. He's not playing up to his ability right now. You have this lineup that worked really well last night, and in my opinion, he needs to see the bench. And it could be a good thing for him. It depends on how he handles it. But I was very satisfied with this lineup. And when Myrto comes back, I think we have a good problem on our hands now.
Yeah, I don't know if I would classify it as good, but like we've had worse issues. That's for sure. I just don't. We are just very, very close to, and I've waited to bring this up. Sebas Ferreira situation with Houston the last couple years, where they had two strikers, they could not play them together, and that whole situation deteriorated and held that club back. Again, we are not to that point. Yeah, but we're a lot closer than I ever thought we would be.
Yeah, that's a really good point and a great comparison there with those two teams for sure. But I'm just saying, it looks like, that with Dessler back and then unlocking Johnny is what we needed. And I think it's going to be maybe a decent problem to have where hopefully we can get Myrto going here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll certainly talk more about that as we go here in the post-match comments and of course, previewing the Red Bulls match on Wednesday's upcoming episode. So let's get into this one here finally, and we'll just pick it up in the 6th minute. Austin in possession here, working it left to right around the midfield line, and Dessler finds Vasquez checking back on that right side, and BV takes a touch towards that near sideline on the broadcast camera before popping a ball over the top to Osman Bukhari in behind, and the break is on here. Osman chases it down as that ball kind of approaches the right side of the Colorado 18. He cuts it across the face of net towards Gallagher and Dessler, who were both crashing the net, and Hansen, their backup keeper. I thought even like giving up the 2 goals, I thought Hansen was very, very strong. I think the hype from their fans that we heard about in the midweek was warranted. But Hansen deflects it right back towards where Bukhari had gone over the end line after, his momentum carried it out. But he steps back in bounds and puts another cross, this time to the feet of a trailing Danny Pereira. And Danny fires it on frame. It deflects off Mikel Dessler and in. Earliest goal of the season for Austin FC. So you love to see that little spark of life in the room where we were watching it early on. I think the only unfortunate thing is for Danny here, because I think that ball was going in regardless. But we'll take it, man. I'm sure Danny will take the assist and move on here. early lead, you love to see it.
Absolutely. And like that was the sign of things to come all night long, just beating that right side to death with Bukhari versus who was that? Travis there. Like had nothing for him. And this is a great, after the initial bounce back rebound, this is a great trailing ball to a dangerous part of the park. And Danny goes ahead and gets a great rip on it. Hanson's going the wrong way this entire time with this ball's coming up. So it was 100% going in. You get the Dessler deflection, and we were due for a little luck, although we were also going to score that even if it wasn't deflected there. So what a way to start this game. And now we're feeling great. And like, here we go. That's what we've been asking for. Score early, and let's see what the other team can respond with. We've always had to respond in these situations. And it's like, well, now you going to have to come play with us a little bit here, because we know teams sit back and can be conservative on us. But I thought the ability to get into space on the right side of the field was an issue for Colorado all night, and we really exploited that side.
Yeah, and scoring so early too, there's no question that you're going to continue searching for another goal here rather than just packing it in. And 2 minutes later, really off the restart, Austin turns the Rapids over here and run another great counter. It's Owen here hitting BV, who's checking back to the ball again. I think both Brandon and Owen did a great job of kind of interchanging there as the two forwards. It was a much better job of making themselves available for the guys in the midfield than I think we've seen the Uzuni and Vasquez pairing do the majority of the season. So Vasquez slides that ball out to Biru, who plays Galley through down the line. You saw a lot of combination between those two guys. I think Biru plays 74 minutes, leads the team in touches here. We're off to the races with Galley. And John gets to the 18. He drops it back to Biru, who was trailing the play on that left side. And that gives Brandon some time to get up near the 6 after he had checked back initially. Guilherme puts the ball right to Brandon's dome. And Hanson makes a great save here on Brandon's headed chance. I will say that your theory about Brandon just never putting those headers into the ground continues to plague him a little bit here. And this is far from the worst effort in and around the 18 from Brandon last night, and we'll certainly get to a couple of those examples.
Absolutely, but this is, again, for Austin to come out, be aggressive here, be searching for that insurance goal, and get a good possession out of this. Guilherme was fantastic all night long. Like you said, leads the team in possessions last night while playing defense, has that a pretty incredible attempt to do something in front of the net there that one time. But, this is a great save by Hanson, and I think it's pretty comparable to the Stuver save on Navajo, but this Vasquez header was more threatening than the Navajo one later on in this match.
23rd minute, Colorado really starting to settle in a bit now. And in this moment, though, Cudi Pietro turns it over, and it's played immediately to Gallagher, who takes off up that left side, playing Guilherme Biru through past 3 Rapids defenders at midfield who converged on him at the same time. Biru, now we've got a 3-on-3 break. He's kind of cutting in towards the middle, and as he gets towards that top of the box, he drops it to Danny, who's trailing the play, and Danny pings it right back to Gallagher on the left side, who had rejoined the fray. And Galley takes like one touch towards the end line, fizzes a ball across the face of the net, and this is what you were talking about. Biru tries to like scorpion this in. I mean, it was a pretty hilarious attempt. He whiffs there, but Buka is on the end of it on that right side, and he fires a powerful shot on target that Hanson parries away. And again, Austin able to, as the first half continued, take on a little bit of water at the back.
Yep.
And then when they had their chances, they were taking them. Obviously, it doesn't come off 100% of the time in this game. I think we left some goals out there on the field last night. This wasn't necessarily one of them, but the threat level from Austin, although it did dip a couple times into the danger zone, it was one of the better performances we've seen in terms of executing the game plan and taking advantage of what the opponent was giving you.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously not the same quality of opponent as your San Diego the week prior, but the counter last night for Austin was clinical. We were great getting out into space after we turned them over or dispossessed them, being able to get out into space and just kind of go. Johnny threatening all night on that left side as well. Great ball here. And yeah, I think Hanson makes another nice save after the Bukhari rebound.
30th minute, this is where I think we started to dip into that range of like, oh boy, clenching here. Yep. Austin starting to suck some wind a half hour in, and off a Hansen clearance, the ball bounces in behind the Austin backline. And Navahu here is putting some pressure on BHI, and Brennan turns it over. And so Svatak rotates over, stepping to Navahu inside the 18. He drops it to Mihailovic, where Biru rotates over. And as the Rapids number 10 kind of pops it first time to Kudi Pietro, it sure as hell looks like Guilherme Biru reaches out with his arm like he's just going to smack this one down. So I'm glad he did not connect there. I'm not sure what's going through our young Brazilian's mind there. But Stuver is lively here. And something we've been asking more out of him on this podcast is to be more aggressive and decisive in those moments. And he is. He meets Kudi Pietro and makes the save. That ball deflects to Oliver Larraz. He puts it back into the mixer where Svatak heads it up. Dessler then nods it towards that near sideline. It stays in, but then number 3 rushes out, tackles it out for a throw, and that is where you're able to kind of catch your breath for a second. And that may have been the moment where you pointed out 3 guys are bent over, hands on their knees.
Yep, this was this could have been an absolute disaster because this is a bad turnover by BHI. Guilherme would have been shown red here if he makes contact with this ball. They would have gotten a PK. Then we would have been down a man the whole rest of the match. So we really avoided disaster in this situation. Fortunately, that ball didn't hit Guilherme's hand there. Way to go, Stuver. If he does not come out in this situation, you're getting scored on 100%. Like that's going behind you. So to come out and close that space, be aggressive. And I thought there was multiple instances last night where he did that. And something that we've been critical of him as of late, he responded. I don't think we're the only ones who have been pointing that out to put that plainly. Sure. So this was a great play by Stuver. BHI has put in some questionable plays these last couple of games that he's been playing in. And we got to tighten that up. Because again, can't give stuff like that away. That'll bury you.
Well, and this Rapids flurry continues here because they're right back on the attack in the 31st minute. Great dummy here by Navahu to let a ball run through to Mihailovic, and then Georgie swings it out to Reggie Cannon on the right side. Cannon drops it back to Larraz, who's trailing the play, and he whips the ball in towards the top of the 6, where Navahu just slips in right behind Svatak in this moment, heads it towards the far post. Stuver up for the challenge once again, diving to his left to keep it out. Ball stays in play. Biru clears out the next Colorado attempt, and then Gallagher goes up for that one and gets undercut. And this is my one gripe with the officiating last night. Thought it was pretty consistent. I was wondering why, too, I guess. No issue here. I'm sure Guilherme did whatever he was accused of. But twice there's Guilherme Biru throw-ins that get whistled back and then turned over to Colorado. So I'm not sure if it was like he waited too long, he cheated up too much, or he went over the line with his throw and that's a turnover. Maybe somebody who was paying attention and knows the answer can inform us there. But the call I take issue with is Gallagher goes up for this ball and gets undercut. And well, in general, I don't think that should be a foul because I think the Colorado player had a right to the space that they were in, and just because Johnny goes and jumps up over his shoulders doesn't mean it's a foul. But my issue is every single time we've seen that in a game this year, it has been a foul. So I was sitting there where we were watching just, hey!
Yeah.
And no call.
Yeah. I was nervous here for this stretch, man. Because like I said and alluded to earlier on the intro there, we were huffing. We were dying out there, and like this is their flurry, this is their opportunity to get a goal here, and we were able to hold the line in this situation because they were definitely coming. They get a couple good chances. Obviously, you got this Atencio shot coming up here shortly as well. I was super nervous, and then just glad to get out at halftime 1-0. I thought we were going to make some subs early, but they did not come, and it seemed like the right call.
Yeah, and again here, like in this is still really the Rapids, the big portion of Rapids momentum in the first half. But in the 33rd minute, you get a fortunate bounce here in the defensive half, which lands the ball at the feet of Bukhari. He plays Brandon through down that right side, and we've got another 3-on-3 break here. Bukhari first is making a run central. And then, of course, Apple gives us a fucking close-up of Brandon instead of letting us watch the break. But you see Vasquez cut the ball centrally, which means Oshman now has to try to overlap him. I thought Brandon should have stayed wide because I thought there's one defender between him and Buka running at the Colorado 18 here. And then after Vasquez cuts inside, he's got Gallagher running far post. Probably no angle to get him a ball cleanly there. But Osman on the overlap is also a pretty good option. He instead decides to drop it back to Owen Wolff, which I also don't think is the worst idea, the worst decision we've ever seen him make. But the pass is 3 feet behind him, and it totally kills the momentum here. And again, it's one of multiple examples where I think Brandon could be better with his decision-making, both with and without the ball, when we're in transition and on the counter.
Yep, this is the first one that really stuck out last night where it was like, I think we left some food on our plate because there were situations where we definitely could have gotten aggressive and made the right decision and, put something threatening back there on that Colorado defense. This is, again, some of the chemistry stuff still and like getting that kind of like feel and worked out is still popping its head up every now and then, which it has been throughout, particularly in May. But you saw it here, even in a game where we were pretty tight for the majority of this match. And these things, you can correct these things. And like we said, we're 18 games in now. You think this team should be fully gelled. Well, not fully gelled, but closer to a full gel than they are right now. Yes. So like that's still something, an area of improvement that we can get better at. And I hope it comes because this is just not the right. This is just not the right read. Like you got to make the defender make this decision. Yes. It's like, I'm going to come to the ball and stop the ball. I'm going to go ahead and try to take away this run. And we did this a few times last night.
Yeah. And like, I think I would give the guys as a whole, because it's not just Brandon that we'll talk about through the last hour of this match, but like I would give them a little bit more grace with some of that decision making in the moment last night. If it hadn't been across the board below the bar of expectation throughout the rest of the season, I could write some of this off as elevation, right? And exhaustion at some moments of this match. But I don't think that excuse is warranted in this instance. So 35th minute, Austin, after a dangerous cross here from Travis, misses Cudi Pietro for a tap in by mere inches.
Yep.
Austin is just kind of walking it up out of the back here. Ball's at the feet of Biru, and he and Buka make eye contact for half a second. Osman takes off. Biru launches a beautiful ball in behind, and Osman does great to bring this ball down into his own path on the run. It's just him and Hansen, the keeper. And instead of shooting, he opts to play it across to Vasquez, and Brandon's shot is denied. Again, Hansen, fantastic save. Brandon can do better, but I want to go back to Osman because while I think the pass is fine and Brandon should score that, I also can't ignore that in the moment I screamed at Buka, shoot!
Yeah.
And I think he should have.
To me, this was the worst decision of the night. He's got at least 2 steps on that defender behind him, and Hansen has not come out to a point where he needs to make a split-second decision. Like, you had another touch there to go ahead and you get in a little closer and then let one fly to, like, instantly try to drop this ball back. I don't know if Brandon's screaming in this situation. If he was, then that's wrong on Brandon. And then also, like I said to you last night, I was like, even if he is screaming, you got to override that. Like it's just you and Hansen. You got to go ahead and say, nope, I'm shooting this. And he should have shot this and he should have scored this. So this was the worst decision on the night in my opinion. And not to take away from what Buka did last night, because he was absolutely again unstoppable. It's impossible to guard him in space. When he has that much space, there's nothing. It doesn't matter how good a defender you are. He is faster than you. That's it. That's it. So this was a poor decision, though. And like we said before we jumped on here, definitely should have scored 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely could have scored 4, and it wouldn't have felt fluky, like a bullshit. Like, because the Navajo own goal, that was going in as well from Brandon. So, like, it could have been 4 last night.
You get the first yellow card of the match here in the 39th to Travis for just trucking Osman on a counter chance that came off of a long throw by Stuver. He had a couple of those last night trying to huck it up to Book and to Galley. The first one he tried kind of split the 2 guys and went right to the Colorado defender, but this one, it was on, and Travis does everything he can. And like, you're too far from net for a dog but I feel like I've seen softer reds given too. So I'm not putting in the call for it there. Yellow is fine. But it was very, very close to, I think having a real case for that there. To to close out the half here, the 44th minute, you get a free kick to Colorado, which I think on the rewatch looked like it was whistled as a handball against Austin here. I couldn't really tell who touched the ball, but that sets up a free kick chance for Colorado about 25 yards out. And Georgie here plays it over the top. It's headed towards the top of the box by Svatok and right to Josh Atencio, who's like 12 yards out, pounces on it. Powerful strike here. Then Mikael Dessler. They said it on the broadcast. I think I agree. As good as a goal here by Dessler to nod this one up and out. Just as good as a save by Brad Stuver there. And then, of course, they get a corner. Off that corner, Stuver punches it away, and nothing doing for either team in the 3 minutes of stoppage that are given. But goddamn, man. Again, the last 15 minutes of that half, Austin had their chances, as we described, but it was a lot of Colorado in and around our penalty area.
Yep, if you're looking at the momentum chart, this is where Colorado is really trying to get something done here. What a play by Dessler, and like probably his best match of his career here in Austin. It's on a short list for sure.
Right.
And like what we have talked about, and anyone who, follows Dessler and this team and understands the importance how important he is to this team, to not only be on the defensive side of the ball, but the way that he knows the game. Like, that's why he's in the box to get that first goal, because he knows the game, because Buka's out there isolated. He's like, all right, I'm going to get into a dangerous situation. So the reaction time here to get a nice head on it and save a goal, fantastic. That was a missile. That was.
It was.
Take notes, BHI. This is how you do it. You don't take it off the face. You deflect it.
Coming out of the half, here we'll pick it up in the 50th minute. No changes for either side. And here's where Sam Bassett gets the yellow card for dragging down Bukhari on a counter. And it took him 40 yards to fucking catch him. He was reaching for him, trying to drag him down. And so it took Osman slowing up near the penalty area for him to get that foul. So on this one, this is Brandon territory, and he lines up over it and confidently rips it towards that top right corner of the goal. Hansen does well to push it over the top. I think it may have been pinging off the crossbar and back out either way, but I think good shot, good save in that instance, and nothing doing off the initial corner. But Austin keeps the ball for multiple more chances into the box, and this sequence ultimately ends with Danny finding Wolf inside the 18, and Owen turns on a dime, fires a shot towards the back post that has Hansen beat, but it goes just wide. And it was very encouraging to me to see us come out equally as aggressive in the second half, where it was clear that there was no directive at the half to sit back more than we were, right? We were sticking to the plan and trying to go get that insurance goal.
Absolutely. Let's start with the BV kick. I'm totally settled on him taking all of these from here on out because like this is a great rip, and it just as easily as it could have pinged off that crossbar and gone out, it just as easily could have bounced off the bottom of that crossbar and banged right in there. So like, and as a keeper, you have to try to get a hand on this. You're not just going to let this go by and hope that it hits the crossbar. So a fantastic strike here. This turn by Owen is so sexy. And like just to like open up his hips, get square to the net and be able to put one on real fast. Great turn, great shot. Love to see it. And to your point, staying aggressive, staying on the front foot was really, really encouraging thing to see.
53rd minute, just a minor note here. Wanted to give him credit for this great individual defensive play by Mikael Dessler here to maneuver Navajo off the ball on a service over the top from Atencio right into the box. It allows Stuver to scoop it up, but like, we've seen Dessler do this before. I go back to the opener this year where I think he shielded off, wasn't it Joveljic in the box there down in the north end, where like he just comes in without a foul and like so smoothly just takes you, the DP attacker on the other side, completely out of the play.
Yep. And he's a professional footballer, man. That's who this dude is. He's clinical. He knows his stuff. He's a good player, man.
It's the reason we've said he's the most important player on our back line. It really showed last night, maybe even more than we thought it really could. But the wait was worth it, I think, for sure. 57th minute here. Rapids starting to build up some more consistent pressure again as we get, 10, 15 minutes into the second half. And right here, Cudi Pietro turns Biro around on that right side of the area and sizzles a ball across the face of net that Stuver gets a touch to, but it spins towards that back post where Dessler ushers it out for a corner. Nothing doing on that corner for the Rapids, but Austin escapes right there. And now it's time to get some fresh legs in here. And we do in a couple minutes.
Yeah, and I was super concerned about us coming out of the half and just what I saw from the guys. And I knew that they looked tired. And like to be able to hold on here, get these subs in, get some rotation, way to go. I think he got probably a little fortunate here. This is a super dangerous ball. But Brad and Dessler all night long, you see on FOTMob the 2 highest ratings for the team last night, and well-deserved.
So the subs do come in the 62nd minute. It's a double change for both teams. So on the Colorado side, Harris and Ronan come in for Bassett and Atencio. But for Austin, Ilie and Robert Taylor come in for Sabovich and Dessler. So Dessler gets about 60 in there. Makes sense. And that moves John Gallagher back to right back as Taylor slots in at the left back. And goddamn, I mean, round of applause for John Gallagher. Again, like the story is the same with this guy, but I continue to be impressed.
So, I mean, it's like it goes by the wayside so often. But what we ask him to do and his ability to do it at a competent level every time is just so impressive. Like this guy is an Iron Man. He is in incredible shape to be able to do what he does. And like for him to be sprinting up the sideline in that first half on the left side, creating chances for us, being threatening, and then to drop back to right back and to be able to hold your own there. I mean, like you said, just a round of applause for Johnny all around.
So 65th minute here, Austin with a very nice buildup from the back, progressing up the pitch from right to left, ends up with Owen Wolf playing Taylor through to the edge of the 18. And Taylor's pass back across the 18 is deflected out for a corner. On that corner, Owen whips it in. Heinzike rises up to meet it, smashes it into the back of the net for the 2-0 lead. But upon the replay, it is rightfully given as an own goal to Hafa Navahu. But we'll fucking take it, man. And as you mentioned earlier, it does deflect first. Not with as much power, but it does deflect off BHI. And I think that one was going in too. But again, I don't care how it goes in. It goes in. We have been waiting for some of that luck from the soccer gods to break our way. And it certainly did last night. Again, like you mentioned earlier, we should have had 3. But we'll take this second one, man. And it's the first time we have led by 2 since the San Diego match on fucking March 18th or some shit like that. We have only led. I mean, last night, dude, we lead by 2 for 25 minutes plus stoppage. You like tripled the amount of time we've led by multiple goals in the whole season just in the last half hour here.
Yep. I mean, we'll take it absolutely every day of the week here to get this one. The insurance goal really took a weight off of my shoulders, and I'd imagine that it just didn't give the guys complacency, but at least you had something in your back pocket where it's like if something goes awry here and they're able to get a goal on us, we're still up, and then you can really park the bus.
Oh, dude, yeah, the mental aspect of a second goal going in, we know it all too well on the other side.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But like the confidence it gives you, like you said, like it lets you play a little bit more loose. You're not taking your foot off the gas on either side of the ball, but it's just, as some coaches have said, goals change games. 69th minute, you get a double change for the Rapids with Yappy and Cabral in for Cudi Pietro and Larraz. So not like for like there with Larraz coming off, throwing on an extra forward in the next minute in the 70th. Osman, this is one thing we haven't really talked about yet, and we definitely need to, so I'm glad I wrote it down. Another impressive tackle and takeaway in the defensive half, and he had moments where he's winning balls not just in the defensive half, but chasing through balls down and battling with Chidozie Awaziem, and not just like Awaziem winning a ball and Buka taking it back off him. Or the one where they come, I may have this in the notes here, so I may be jumping the gun, but the one where he runs the ball down and bodies Awaziem, little Osman bodies this big-ass center back off the ball. Dude, it was again, one of Buka's best games, and he continues to build up the good performances and stack them on top of one another. And you motherfuckers got to start finishing some of these assists, man, because like he deserves to have more contributions than he does. The goals, some of that is on him. He should have probably had one last night on that breakaway, but again, I could just sit here and praise Buka for a lot longer than we're gonna here. He gets this takeaway in the defensive half. That ends up being played down the right side, or then he ends up being played down the right side moments later. And here's where he muscles the much larger Owazium off the ball. And then Osman takes that, beats him to the end line, crosses it into the 6. But Hansen scoops it up. And then Hansen plays this one quickly. And the Rapids are off on a counter that finds Calvin Harris with some space on the left. He takes a touch towards the middle as he approaches the 18, gets around Svatok in that moment, takes a shot, Stuver's up for it, parries it out for a corner. Nothing doing on that corner as Vasquez heads it clear. But this is really, and you could see in that sequence, last 20 minutes of this one, things really started to open up, especially before Austin brought on their final 3 subs.
Yep, opened up on both sides. Glad you brought up the defensive action for Buka last night. 3 tackles. I think 4 or 5 defensive action recoveries to get back, bodying Chidozie there, which was a fantastic and fun thing to see outside of his usual, I'm just going to sprint by you. Gave him a little shoulder check there. He was great all night long, and he definitely should have scored, and he definitely could have put together his best game ever in a verde and black kit the creams last night, which is, of course, the sexiest of the jerseys. This was great, man. And I was ready for these subs and happy to get them in and happy to see them as well. But just an overall fantastic shift from a lot of guys last night. And Osman is up there around that top of that list.
Yeah, I mean, Osman leads the team in shot creating actions last night. 5 of the 19 belonged to Book and tied with Mikael Dessler in the lead for tackles. So, I mean, all around, fantastic game from Osman. Backs it up in the stats there. 75th minute, Biru takes a seat. Kolmanic comes in for him at left back. And then in the 83rd, you get your final sub there. Rubio in for Owen Wolf. Double change there. Yep. Rubio for Wolf, Obrian for Bukhari. And then on the Colorado side as well at the same time, you get Vines in for Cannon there at right back. 85th minute. Stuver boots it long here, was under some pressure from Darren Yappy. Rubio pops that ball into the air. Robert Taylor runs onto it. Cheeky little chop to get it to Kolmanic, who had made a run. Kind of Biru style here. And he plays Vasquez through. Vasquez is on. He does have a chance on net here. But he's also got Hadair Obrian running free onside to that back post. And on the replay, he's also got Kolmanic trailing the play to the middle. And Vasquez ends up deciding to shoot here. It's kick saved out for another corner by Hansen. And again, this is where, I question the decision making. I think you have a dunk with Obrian.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And even if you decide to take this shot, you're Brandon Vasquez, brother. You gotta finish that man against this backup keeper, no matter how good he's playing. I think there's too many chances for Brandon last night to not get one. And again, we know that the guy is not trying to not score. Yeah. And that he's been through, ups and downs throughout his career, hot and cold. It does seem like the last couple of matches, he's on a little bit of a cold spell here. He's continuing to get the chances and underperforming the expectations. I think both statistically, right? We've talked about the XG, but it's to the point now where I'm totally with you. He's underperforming the eye test as well.
He has been. And this is a poor decision and a solid save by Hansen, but nothing spectacular. The strike by BV was also nothing spectacular here. But Obrian is wide open, and this situation where it was I said, Buka had a touch in his breakaway. BV should have just played this right to Obi, let him. He's onside, could have tapped it in. So when we said this could have been easily 4, I don't think that is a stretch, and again. Got the 3 points, scored multiple goals. Fantastic, baby. But we're still not to where we want to be, where this team needs to be at. And it's there. It's still there. And hopefully that can get changed as well. But to the eye test and to the underlying figures for BV, he's been underperforming.
Yeah. And again, the guy is our leading goal scorer. He has all of those expected numbers because he's getting himself in the right spot. So I don't want him to change much of anything except for just the finishing. And we know he can do better. We've seen better here in his short time in Austin. And of course, with Rayados, with Cincy, etc. Right. And again, 2 minutes later, dude, 87th minute, a ball deflects near midfield into the path of Rubio. And he plays Taylor through on the left. All of a sudden we got a 2-on-2. He's got Brandon Brandon has a good angle to just split these two defenders. Taylor sees it, slips in.
Yep.
I can't say it's a perfect ball because we didn't see it come to fruition, but like, I think it's a good enough angle for Brandon to run onto this and get a very clear shot on target. And Brandon pulls up and looks like he was trying to maybe start to float towards the back post, but that is 100% the wrong read in that moment. And again, almost 90 minutes through in the elevation here, dog tired, I get it, but it's a pattern throughout the match, and it's been a pattern throughout the majority of the season that the decision making, again, I'm harping on Brandon here because he's the easy one to pick on last night. The decision making as a whole with the team is still not to where we need to be. Very happy with the result last night, but long way to go. And that is, I think, encouraging to me that we see where there can be clear improvements in the offensive output of this team, right? It's not theoretical. These guys just have to go do it. The chances are there.
Yep. And, this is definitely just the wrong run. It's the wrong read. And I thought, it was just extra crazy because he has that initial step forward to beat that guy and get his shoulder past that defender and be in. So confusing and just the wrong decision again there.
When we can't get out of any match without picking up some cautions ourselves. So in the 90th minute, yellow card to Hot Air Obrian, going through the back of Calvin Harris, going down low and taking him out near the top of the 18. Luckily, nothing doing for Colorado on that free kick, but Javier is now on yellow card accumulation warning going forward. So do you think Javier is going to make it 5 appearances without another yellow? I don't, not at the rate he's been picking these up off the bench mostly this season. So we'll keep our eye on Obrian going forward. And then in the 4th minute of stoppage, Ilie chops down Harris on a potential break. So, I get it. I also don't think we necessarily needed it in that moment. And now Ilie is 2 yellows away from being suspended again. Again, this is not what you want to see at the end. It's fine. Ultimately, we get out of there with the 2-0 clean sheet, but goddamn, guys.
More
I
things
think
to clean
both
up.
of those were avoidable.
Yeah, more things to clean up. I mean, Hot Air's yellow cards per minute have to be damn near tops in the league.
It's like Valencia style now,
Jesus.
They're both Colombian. Maybe it's a Colombian thing.
I don't know, man. But correct me if I'm wrong. The Ilie yellow comes after like a bad turnover from Ilie, or like he did something wrong. And I distinctly
don't remember if he turned it over or not, but it would make sense because he's coming from behind. So he did turn it over.
I'm pretty sure he turns this over and has a bad play and then does this after, which compounded it. But I don't want to harp too much on it, but I'm going to anticipate both of those guys being suspended. Obrian doesn't really surprise me that much. We've seen him, throughout his career be pretty reckless. But the Ilie stuff, man, you're the veteran captain, smart guy on this team. And you're 34.
He looked in moments last night coming in with what should be pretty fresh legs. Harris, Yappy, those. It's not the first time that Ilie has looked his age this season, but as we progress through, again, and coming off of May, played a lot of minutes, etc. But he didn't play last week, right? So I don't know. He's not. Again, we have long speculated that Ilie may just be a 1 year, for lack of a better, or for to use the common phrase, right, a rental. This year. And even if he stays going forward, you would think over time, Dubrsarski starts fighting for more minutes. We know Nicky Belloco is coming in. He's very athletic and physical in the midfield. So, again, he's fine, but a lot of yellows.
A lot of yellows. Whatever. 3 points.
47% possession for Austin at the end of this one. It was on FOTMOB's model, 16 shots to 11. I believe there were some significant statistical discrepancies between what Apple and MLS had and American Soccer Analysis and FOTMOB and FBref, right? These Opta outlets. So 16 shots to 11 on FOTMOB's count, but 6 on target to 5 in favor of Austin. And Austin, 4 big chances created on FOTMOB's model, 3 of them missed. So again, it's not just us sitting here and calling for perfection from all these chances. You are missing big chances again. And to miss 3 big chances and still win 2-0. If you would have told me we missed 3 big chances at the beginning of the game, I would have been like, well, we're going to fucking lose again.
Yeah.
So we'll take that. 11 corners to 3 for the Rapids on FotMob's model. Here on the recalc, it was 1.6 XG for Colorado this morning. Now it's 2.33, which is still a far cry from the 3.5 XG that Apple had on the screen last night. But you now have Colorado on FotMob's model out XGing Austin 2.33 to 2.01. So we can go ahead and pull up the full stats. Expected goals on target, still 1.54 for Austin to 1.48 for Colorado. So again, I think the rightful score of this match was probably like 3-1 or 3-2 in terms of the quality of chances created. And now you see on the recalc here that things kind of coming more in line with what we saw in terms of those underlying numbers. So anything else stick out to you from this or the other stats that we've kind of been perusing this morning?
Yeah, I do think that our big chances missed were self-inflicted, and I think that their big chances missed were more so quality defense and good keeper play from Brad. Like, we shot ourselves in the foot multiple times last night. They had some threatening stuff that I think that they would probably want back, but I thought overall, you get the kind of fortunate Dessler in the right place at the right time for that deflection off the Atencio shot. But holy shit, look at that left side. It exists. But I do think that our defense last night was more telling in their 5 big chances missed than our 3 big chances missed in relation to their defense as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid point by you there. You see on ASA's model here, giving you 2 great, 2 good, 2 average XG chances with 5 poor XG chances. Again, this is 2.01 to 1.6 on ASA's expected goals model. Goals added, you see BV up at the top, Owen Wolf and Guilherme Biru. Nothing too shocking there. Field tilt 63% in favor of Colorado last night. And you see passes into the opponent's box, 20-8 in favor of Colorado. All of these kind of coming off like it felt, I think, in the game.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, that left side was existent last night and really threatening, and that was fantastic to see. Just a great performance, man. And they could have scored for sure, but like, to be able to get out of there with your clean sheet, keep that going. A good game from Brad, very solid. A lot of guys contributing last night, an overall great team win, and very happy for them to be able to get this 3 points and come back home. And now you got the Red Bulls coming to town, and you can definitely win that game as well. So very happy for the boys last night. This was a good win.
Yeah, and Austin FC avoids setting a new club record for the longest winless streak in the league. Ooh. So we now have 4 8-game winless streaks in the league, but not a new one at 9. So we will certainly take that and run. Some of the other post-game takeaways, thoughts that I had, this is one note I wrote down. Buka and Dessler on the right is the shit. It is exactly what we remembered from last year. It's exactly what we expected. Man, and if they can keep that level up on that side, opponents are in trouble when we are coming down that right side.
Yep, absolutely. And like, again, still room for growth here, and like getting Dessler back, getting him more acclimated, that's only going to be, I've been saying it since he came back, that's only going to be good for Buka. Well, not only good for Buka, but it's going to be very good for Buka to have him on that side, somebody who's smart, heady, knows how to place people in the space, and then fill areas that can be threatening. So that is a sexy combination that is going to be great for us going forward here. So again, just super happy for these dudes to get 3 points, man. Big 3 points. Like, this is like, we know what this is going to come down to. This is a huge fucking 3 points. You get the win, which helps you in tiebreaker shit. And then this is one of the teams that we're clumped with, and I'm assuming we're probably going to be clumped with and attached to for the rest of this season. You see the top 3 or 4 teams separating themselves a little bit, establishing that they are the upper echelon in the Western Conference. And then we know how this league has been since we've been introduced to it. 5 through sometimes 12 are all right there. And these are important points, important games to go ahead and preserve yourself later on in this season. And like we talked about with the upcoming advantageous schedule, I don't think there's a single team in the Western Conference who has played Vancouver twice, Minnesota twice, Portland twice, San Diego twice. And we have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. And again, I know we won't go back through this, but last night after the game, we're sitting there, we're looking at that 9-game stretch that we've talked about on the pod and kind of calculating what else do you need from the remaining 7 games outside of that stretch. And like, it is not just doable, it is still absolutely the expectation, bar none, inexcusable to miss the postseason here.
Absolutely.
With this team. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was flipping it over to the left side. And John Gallagher, and I know we talked about it a little bit before we got into the game recap, but I don't think this Gally-Biru pairing on the left is necessarily what I want to see as a consistent game in, game out pairing on the left. But again, I do think we thought it made sense coming into the match, and you saw it work out so well that this is something that I definitely want to see again, not necessarily in a starting capacity, but it clearly makes sense to have Gally and Biru over there with the way those two guys can play off of each other and cover for each other on both sides of the ball. So like, if you can start to get more full minutes out of Robert Taylor, right? Taylor's not going to be able to defend as well in coverage, dropping back in a pinch at a fullback position as John Gallagher, but like, he's a more technically sound player on the left wing. So like, I think we do see more Robert Taylor going forward, and hopefully Uzuni can figure some shit out over there, man. Like, that is going to be a topic of conversation, not just leading into the Red Bulls match, but over the next month plus, right? He's kind of the odd man out right now, Uzuni, in terms of like guy who has just not had flashes, right? We've had Buka now building up for what feels like over a month now, just building on good performance after good performance. BV has had flashes. He leads the team in goals, right? In XG as an individual, etc. We could go through the entire lineup. We need Uzuni to come back and start improving his play. Because again, that is the conversation piece in terms of the player personnel right now, and it's 100% warranted.
Yep, absolutely. Again, the Myrto on the left is absolutely our ceiling potential lineup. That would be our most talented, skilled lineup out there that you could put out there. And if it's humming and it's working, then absolutely fantastic. He's got to get his mind right. But this ability to have Johnny there, I really like it. It puts 2 very fast guys on either sides of the pitch that you have to account for. And with Taylor coming into the mix, understanding how he looked and has looked in his time here in Austin, it's going to be a situation where Myrto's going to have to play better. That's it. Like, he's got to play better if we're going to be the best team that we can be. And, what's the fucking LeBron quote? Don't fit out, fit in, or fit in, don't fit out, some shit like that. He's got to figure out a way to make
you're the LeBron historian here.
It's jumbled in my head.
I think it's don't fit in, fit out, or don't fit out, fit in. It's one of the two. Exactly. Come on, Bron.
See, it's like backwards in my brain. But he's got to figure out a way to find what's going to work for him with his style of play and because this gives us that wolf in the middle, a somewhat of a 10 there, where like you can go ahead and make something progress up the middle, and then you have 2 guys on the other side. So I hope Myrto can figure this thing out, because we're going to need him. If we're going to do what this team should do this season, we're going to need him to play well.
And going forward, man, the guy's on a 3+1, right? Like,
yep.
This is coming into the season. This is the core that was envisioned to take this team into Austin FC 2.0. And we'll see, man, if that gets shaken up mid-season here, after the season, what have you. It is not set in stone at the moment, in my opinion. As much as I want it to be.
Yes, I'm right there with you. I would want it to work, but in my opinion as well, this is it is a situation where I'm listening. If people are talking about Myrto going somewhere else, I'm listening. All right, because it's just, the fit hasn't been great, and that's partially on the way the roster was built, and that's partially on the players and how they're, and partially on the coach for how these guys are being utilized. So like, we got to figure it out. Myrto has to raise his level of play. and we can get this thing really rolling in good direction here.
Another clean sheet for Brad Stuver. I believe that is 7 of the 18 matches so far this season in the league.
Nice.
Brad has kept a clean sheet. And Nico started off the press conference at Phil, customary with the first question there. Kind of just from my recollection, asked him, thoughts on the game overall, right? And Nico goes, I thought it was kind of entertaining here. He goes, soccer was how he summed it up. He said, I don't care about the stats today, because if we capitalize on the chances that we had at the beginning, it is no game. And he's right, man. And not just at the beginning of the game, but throughout. Yep. Again, I'm not complaining, but also just trying to, I guess, impart my opinion that it's still far from where it should be, even in victory last night.
Yep, an absolute finished, polished product that looks cohesive every time. Like, this was a bit of a flash with this lineup and how it looked, and I understand the circumstances with Myrto on international and his play as well. But credit to him, credit to the coaching staff. Well done, and a good 3 points. It's not always going to look perfect, for sure, as we are very well accustomed to at this point.
Yeah.
But this was a huge 3 points for us. Huge.
Massive. And you can see the table here if you're watching on the YouTube. Austin tied on points for 6th place as of this recording, but LAFC is who we are tied on, 23 points. We both have 6 wins right now. They have 12 goals in terms of that goal differential in that second tiebreaker on us, so that's why we are sitting in 7th in the table. They also have 3 games in hand, a couple games postponed for CONCACAF, couple games, or a game postponed for that Club World Cup play-in that they just played. And now Austin is the first team in the West to 18 matches played. But as you and I were discussing last night, man, I don't care about the games in hand. I think you said something about this earlier in the episode. Is you just got to worry about yourself. And that starts with Red Bulls coming to town on Saturday, where you have to double stamp this win with another win. You got to win at home, man. We only have 3 home wins so far. That is not good enough. And Red Bulls is absolutely a beatable team. Yep. Seems like we came out really no worse for the wear injury-wise last night. Maybe Julio is on the mend. I wouldn't expect to see him this week, but certainly by Seattle. I think he walked off the field when he tweaked that hamstring last week. So hopefully just inching closer to full health, Myrto coming back, etc. When you get that win last night, it doesn't make up for dropping points at home to Atlanta or dropping points at home to RSL, but it keeps you afloat, as you mentioned. And now down the second half of the season, again, get those home wins, steal a couple road wins the rest of the way, and that's what gets you up into the top 6 or 7, and maybe puts you in the mix. Maybe at some point later in the year, you're up there thinking about a top 4 slot and home field advantage in a first-round playoff series. Long way to go till then, but it's by no means out of the question right now if you start turning it around. Playing, the strength of schedule, we've talked about it. It is favorable the rest of the way. You just got to go take care of business, continue to improve week over week. And I do think, again, it just looked like the week of training back to a normal cadence for these guys, being able to be together on the practice field, working some things out in the film room, etc. All that goes into a normal week of preparation really did them some good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you like to see, because we knew that they were going to have some time here to get some actual practice in and come out and look focused and re-energized. And they did that. I mean, you look at the 2 teams right above us, right there in 6 and 5, LAFC and Seattle. Seattle's got to play Atletico Madrid, Botafogo, and PSG. And then they also have to play Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup. Okay. LAFC's got to play Flamenco, Chelsea, and then they got to go Tigres and Pumas in Leagues Cup. Yeah. So these teams are going to if you're going for those cups, which I'm assuming they are, you're going to be on the biggest stage with the Club World Cup, and then Leagues Cup is it's a big tournament in my opinion. I'm a fan of it. So these teams got a bit of a gauntlet. We had our gauntlet. May was that gauntlet for us. Right? Ass whooping. Some of these teams got to go. Some of those teams got to go through this, and to walk away completely unscathed, I don't think is a relatively reasonable explanation for these teams. I'm talking about health-wise. I'm talking about fatigue, rest, and everything. Like, I don't think that's a reasonable thing to be looking at. So, like, again, we can't worry about what these other teams are doing. We got to handle our own business. And this Red Bulls team, as you mentioned, very beatable. You can win this game, and you got to start winning games at home. You have to.
Yeah. Well, some of these, Seattle is beat up already, man. Their back line is kind of in shambles right now. Looks like they're getting Jackson Reagan back here, but no Yamar, no Keehee this weekend. And again, next Sunday is their first group stage game against Botafogo. So, like, we are right here. We are less than 3 weeks away from going up to Lumen Field and taking on Seattle after their group. I really hope that they do not advance so we don't have to reschedule that game, because I think no matter what, you're going to be playing a team with some tired legs, right? And we're going to be fresh. So, like, I want that fucking game to happen, man, on the 28th.
I mean, you got PSG, Atletico, and Botafogo in your group. I don't see how you're gonna advance unless those teams aren't just not taking this seriously, at all. But like, I don't think that you're gonna fly to fucking Seattle to not take this seriously. So, right there, man. We're still right there. Long ways to go. You got to handle your business. You got to stamp this win with another one, and then you can go into Seattle with house money. Because they play those 3 matchups in an 8-day span, and then they have 5 days off before we go up there and play them. So handle your business on Saturday up here versus Red Bulls. Go into Seattle with some house money with fresher legs, because we're going to be coming off a full bye week.
Yep. And you and I could sit here for fucking literal hours and continue to shoot the shit about this team and this league. But we'll go ahead and shut it down here, and we'll preview that New York Red Bulls match, of course, on Wednesday's episode. Anything else for you on this game, E, before we move on?
Just happy, man. Very happy for them. Just really, really happy for the guys. I know that, it's been a long battle. We were exhausted, and we don't even fucking play.
Do shit.
We just drink and throw darts. So super happy for them.
Yeah, man. And I think another word that came to mind this morning for me was relief. And I'm sure those guys are feeling both of those things as well. So the last thing I wanted to touch on here, E, as we close out episode 231, is Myrto Uzuni out there in those World Cup qualifiers. They took on Serbia yesterday afternoon in terms of Central Time here. Myrto came off the bench, came in the 75th minute, didn't get a ton of action in the 15 minutes plus stoppage that he saw. Just 5 touches, completed his only pass attempt. Did not, on his one cross, was not deemed accurate by Fatma, but 2 defensive actions, a recovery, lost both of his ground duels in that 15 minutes. 0-0 draw against Serbia. Looked like Albania did miss a penalty in this match, so that could come back to bite them in this very tough World Cup qualifying group. But they go again against Latvia on Tuesday, and planning on tuning into that one. Maybe we see a Myrto start in this second qualifying match of the window. So we will talk about that on Wednesday's episode.
Yep. And for me, man, I obviously I have no stake in the success of Albania in the World Cup qualifiers and everything like that. I'm excited and happy for him to be able to give his kid a kiss, see his wife, give her a hug. Let this kind of stuff of the first half of this, put it in the past. It's over. 17 games, it's done. We got 16 more to go when you get back, and let's go do this thing.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for us, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 231 of the North End Podcast. We will be back on Wednesday previewing Austin FC's home match against New York Red Bulls, recapping Austin FC 2's Sunday night matchup against Rapids 2. You may see CJ in that one, along with Nico Van Rijn, who were up there on the first team's bench yesterday. And, of course, talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe. Between now and then, enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. We'll do the same. We'll see you back here on Wednesday for another episode of the North End Podcast. Until then, he is E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Victory song.
Welcome to the North End where the passion's running high. We're here to talk football, Austin FC, our pride. ZG and E will take you on this ride. Week by week, side by side. rowdiest in town. The Pirates game and Uncle Dave and Big Fudge all around. We sing our songs, we chant as one. Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow, the North End will never let go. Under the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground. In green and black, we fight, our voices loud and proud. Trio sees magic, Bacardi speed, Stuva saving grace. With every goal we score, the lights turn verde, it's our place. So knows the mastermind, building out our dream. Dan rules everything around me as he's